What if everything you experience, every encounter, every challenge, every achievement, was not the result of chance, but the invisible reflection of what happens inside your mind? Since the dawn of time, human beings have tried to understand the mystery of reality. Why do some seem to shape their destiny with ease? The awakening of Genevieve Behrend. Imagine the beginning of the 20th century. The world was still shrouded in carriages, letters and candles, and science was timidly beginning to explore the mysteries of the human mind. While many sought answers outside, one woman dared to look within. Her name was Genevieve Behrend. She lived amid doubts, difficulties, and seemingly distant dreams. She wanted to study with Thomas Troward, the great British judge and metaphysician, whose teachings spoke of the creative power of the mind. But there was an obstacle. She lived in New York, and the course she wanted to attend was in London. The trip would cost a fortune, much more than she had, and it was there, faced with the impossible, that the invisible began to act. Genevieve decided to apply exactly what Troward taught. She sat every day, in silence, and visualized with absolute clarity herself in London, studying alongside the master. She felt the weight of the book in her hands, heard his voice, and experienced within herself the real emotion of the achievement already accomplished. She did this with discipline, without doubting. She did not look for signs. She knew, and in a few weeks, something extraordinary happened. A man, who until then had been only a distant acquaintance, decided to give her exactly the amount of money she needed for the trip and her studies. No logical explanation seemed to fit there, but Genevieve understood. The mind had shaped reality, and the universe had simply responded to the certainty she held. That experience marked the beginning of her journey as one of Troward's greatest disciples, and living proof that creative thinking was not a theory, but a spiritual law as exact as gravity. How to use the invisible power. Today, what Genevieve discovered was not just a technique, it was a hidden key that opens the doors between the visible and invisible worlds, and that key is in the hands of each one of us, right now. The invisible power of the mind is not something distant, nor reserved for the few. It manifests itself silently, through the images you hold within yourself, and the emotions you give to those images. Every thought you repeat, every scene you relive mentally, is like a mold that the universe fills with the stuff of reality. But there is a secret that Genevieve understood deeply. It is not enough to think. You must feel as if it were already real. When you close your eyes and see yourself living what you desire, not as a dream, but as a state already achieved, you begin to vibrate at the same frequency as what you want to manifest. And the universe, faithful to your vibration, responds not by chance, but by resonance. The invisible begins to move. People, coincidences, paths, and opportunities emerge like pieces of a cosmic puzzle, assembled by something greater than reason can comprehend. This is the power that shapes destiny, the same power that Genevieve used to cross oceans and transform her own life. And today, it manifests itself in you. Every time you choose to believe in what the world cannot yet see. Because the true act of faith is not to wait. It is to feel as if it were already real, and then let the invisible do its part. The mind as the architecture of the universe. Imagine, for a moment, that everything you see, the shapes, the objects, the people, the circumstances, are not solid things, but manifestations of a single invisible substance, the mind. This is what Genevieve Behrend understood in her spiritual quest. She understood that the universe is not something separate from us, but a continuous expression of divine thought, a field of consciousness shaped by vibration and intention. Nothing exists that did not first exist as an idea. The physical world is only a reflection of the universal mind translated into forms and experiences, and when the human mind comes into harmony with this creative consciousness, it becomes a co-author of its own reality. Thought ceases to be merely a reflection of life and becomes the force that creates life. That is why Genevieve said that invisible power is not outside. It pulses within every conscious thought, in every feeling you decide to nurture. When you think clearly, feel with faith, and act coherently, you activate the same intelligence that moves the stars, the same energy that breathes in every atom of the universe. And it is in that instant that the impossible bows before the awakened mind. because the world is not something that happens to you. It is something that happens through you. The invisible mystery, the mind as a creative field. Imagine for a moment that reality is not made of solid matter, but of subtle vibrations shaped by thought. This is the core of Genevieve Behrend's vision. She believed that the human mind is immersed in an invisible field, a living ocean of consciousness, and that every idea, emotion, and belief emits a frequency that shapes the circumstances we experience. Genevieve explained that thought is the original substance of creation, not a scattered, fleeting thought, but a thought charged with emotion, faith, and silent conviction. According to her, the universe is a plastic and intelligent substance, always willing to assume the form the human mind projects. In her words, the invisible is true power. The visible is merely the result. Everything we see, our achievements, our failures, our relationships, is merely the visible manifestation of invisible patterns we hold in our minds. When Genevieve spoke of invisible power, she wasn't referring to something mysterious or supernatural. She spoke of a real mental force, present in all of us, but rarely used consciously. The secret lies in understanding that to think is to create, and that every visible creation is first born as a mental image, applying the invisible power in the modern world. You might ask yourself, how can I apply this today? Amid so many distractions, anxiety, and uncertainty? Genevieve would answer, return to inner silence. The first step is to learn to observe your own thoughts, to notice how much they fluctuate, how much they get lost in fear, doubt, and comparison. From this awareness, you can choose what you want to cultivate. The mind, when disciplined, becomes a tool of precision, while others remain stuck in the same cycles. There is a silent force at work behind every experience. Genevieve Behrend believed that this force is not outside of us. It dwells within the human mind, the point where the invisible takes shape, where thought becomes matter, where ideas become reality. In this video, you will discover the invisible power of the mind, the same power that Genevieve learned to use to transform her life, and which, when understood, completely changes the way you see the world and yourself. Get ready to discover the hidden key to reality, because what you call life may just be a reflection of what you believe is possible. Stay with us until the end of this video, because once you understand the true power of your mind, you will never see reality in the same way again. Everything that seemed distant, impossible, or out of reach will reveal its true origin. Within you, the invisible power of the mind. For Genevieve Behrend, everything that exists in the physical world is just a reflection of an invisible pattern, first formed in the mind. She said that every thought, every mental image, is an energetic seed planted in the invisible field of consciousness, and like every seed, it needs attention, emotion, and faith to germinate. Nothing you experience is random. Every circumstance, every encounter, every event is attracted by a mental vibration that you have emitted, consciously or unconsciously. That is why she taught that true transformation does not begin by changing the external world, but by re-educating the inner world. Genevieve believed that there is a universal mind, a creative intelligence that permeates everything that exists. This intelligence responds to the dominant image that we hold within ourselves. It does not judge or select. It only reproduces what you hold with conviction and feeling. If fear dwells within you, the universe will reflect it in the form of scarcity and limitation. But if there is faith, clarity, and certainty within you, the universe will respond with paths, synchronicities, and opportunities. That is why she called this power invisible, because it cannot be seen, but it can be felt. It cannot be controlled, but it can be understood. And when we understand it, we begin to realize that reality is only a mirror of consciousness. Genevieve said that the human mind is the link between the invisible world of creation and the visible world of form. Each thought is like a mold, and each emotion is the vital breath that shapes that mold. So, what you clearly imagine and truly feel will sooner or later take shape and manifest itself in your life. And that is where the secret lies. The mind does not just think, it creates. Everything you hold in the screen of your imagination, with faith and constancy, becomes part of your reality. You are not an observer of the universe, you are its co-creator. Genevieve taught a simple but powerful practice. Visualize what you desire as if it already exists, and feel gratitude as if you had already received it. This act is not empty imagination. It is the active creation of a new inner reality. She said that the mind should be a pure canvas upon which the divine can paint, and the more silent, focused, and confident it is, the clearer the impressions that become reality. In the modern world, applying her teachings is an act of resistance. It is saying, I choose to create consciously, not react unconsciously. Every thought of harmony is a seed. Every conscious visualization is a silent decree to the universe. Reality is shaped by the silent conviction of the spirit. She lived what she taught, and that is why, more than a century later, her words still echo. You are the creative center of your own universe. Everything you seek is already within you, waiting to be recognized. When we understand what Genevieve Behrend really meant by the invisible power of the mind, we realize that it is not magic or optimism. This is about spiritual responsibility. Every thought is a brick in the invisible construction of our reality. And when we use this power consciously, we transform not only our results, but the very fabric of existence. The true power of the mind lies not in wishing for fleeting things, but in recognizing the divine nature of thought itself. Genevieve Behrend spoke not of magic, but of consciousness. She wanted to remind us that behind every form lies a living, intelligent principle that faithfully responds to the direction of the human mind. When you understand this, you realize that you are not a victim of circumstances, but a co-author of your destiny. The invisible is not the place of mystery. It is the terrain of creation. Everything that seems impossible today already exists in potential, waiting for your mind to shape it with clarity, faith, and persistence. Manifestation is not a sudden act. It is the reflection of an internal state that, little by little, becomes real in the external world. That is why Genevieve said, do not doubt, do not waver, and the invisible will become visible. As Genevieve Behrend's words echo through time, we are reminded of an eternal truth. The mind is the portal between the invisible and the visible. Everything you seek, every dream, every change, every miracle is not outside, but within you. The key to reality is not something to be found, but something to be remembered. When you begin to think clearly, feel with faith, and act with coherence, the universe responds. Life ceases to be chance and becomes conscious creation. So, the next time you look at the world around you, remember, it is only a mirror of what you believe is possible. Change your inner reflection, and the entire universe changes with you, because the invisible power of the mind, the one Genevieve Behrend discovered, remains alive within each of us, just waiting to be awakened. If this message touched something within you, remember to subscribe to the channel and leave a like. Here, we explore the mysteries of the mind and spirit through the teachings of great masters like Genevieve Behrend. Your journey of conscious manifestation is just beginning, and each new video is a deeper step in this awakening.